I'm Pratima Joshi. I'm a founder member and executive director of Shelter Associates. This is an NGO which was founded by architects and planners in 1993. Being architects, we really wanted to focus on the urban poor because we've all grown up in cities. So we are more familiar with the city landscape. And we also realized that it was really, really hard for the poor in the cities to get access to some of the things that you and I enjoy without a thought, like water, sanitation, a secure tenure, a secure house. And we thought that as architects, could we bring our skills into this area in the field of urban development and see if we could try and facilitate access to some of these very basic things for the urban poor. And that's how our journey started in 1993. To date, we have done over 28,000 home toilets. We've facilitated that. But the three core competency areas that have emerged over the years is WASH, which is water and sanitation, housing, and data. And why data? Because we realized very, very early on that data was the missing piece. Governments had no data. And so there were a lot of preconceived notions about the urban poor. And they ended up with programs which really didn't make an impact on the ground because the foundation was so weak. We started leveraging technology for creating spatial data. A simple data like, where are the slums? On a map was also not available with the municipal corporation. And luckily I chanced upon this Pune A to Z. I said, let's begin from here. Let's start at least putting the slums on a map. And it literally started with something as simple as that. Every slum would have water stand posts or they would have community toilets. But unless you knew what was the toilet to person ratio or to one stand post, how many people were, drawing from one water stand post, you are never going to know whether it is falling within the defined standards or it's way above that. We realized that, while the government thought that we have provided these people with services, they didn't realize that sometimes the toilet to person ratio is like 1:100. So there are 100 people to one seat. And that was obviously leading to a lot of open defecation. On the flip side, we found that water was being wasted. It's such a precious resource. When we did the surveys, we realized, oh my God, most of the people have a water connection at home. So why are these community water stand posts even there? Because a lot of water would get wasted. Somebody would turn the tap on and just leave it like that. So this kind of spatial data started really bringing a lot of transparency and understanding about situations on the ground. Having done this kind of data across a few cities, we realized that the biggest missing piece was sanitation. We started this effort in Sangli, and in Sangli, this was like years ago. There was a very difficult monsoon, and I remember just visiting this particular community where we had facilitated toilets just a little bit after the monsoons got over. And there was this old lady who continuously kept tugging at my arm and saying, I want you to come and see my toilet. So eventually I went to her place, and I don't know, you might have, I've narrated this in the past also. I went there, I was shocked because her entire house had been blown away, and the only thing that was standing was just her toilet, which was the pakka one. And I said, what happened? She said, in the rains, it was, as I said, a particularly bad monsoon. So the entire house had got destroyed. It just got blown over. And the toilet was the only thing that was pakka. So she said, now you have to give me a house. All our responsibilities were very clearly laid out. So we had a very inclusive approach. And the other thing that we really, really adhered to was even making sure that the political leaders were very much a part of this entire movement. Because after all, they were the elected representatives and they had every right to be consulted and, made part of this journey. And I must say that in a city like Kolhapur, where it was very difficult, to even facilitate this, we've had excellent examples of councillors going out of their way to make this whole thing happen, give us all the support, logistic support that required, to even maneuver within a community. So I would say that once you have an inclusive approach, once you're transparent, once there is a good understanding, then people do rally around and make it happen. And I would say it has been a win-win situation for everyone across the table, this kind of a project. Anything that we do, we make sure that everybody is on board before we start. once we got shortlisted and had to go through the jury round, I found the jury round was amazing because it was just so inclusive. The jurors were asking, they were really interested. They were asking good questions. They really wanted to know. I mean, this was the question that one of the jurors asked me. So you have an established model. So why do you even need to apply for this award? I said for the simple reason that Infosys Foundation, and it was headed by Sudha Murthy ji at that time, and the kind of credibility it would give our organization, just being known as Arohan Award winners, I think that itself would raise our credibility and help us probably network with a lot of other people. And so I'm just very grateful that they decided to go ahead and declare us as the winners of that Arohan Award at that time. The menstrual hygiene part of it has really got fillip ever since we won the Arohan Award, and we are able to really now, go with it and convince people that, this should be funded. It's a solution which ties in very closely with the environment. And you say that, the Arohan Award actually recognizes this as part of the empowerment process that the women have gone through. I think that is something that people pick up very quickly and easily. So to me, that has been one of the breakthroughs, I would say, of the award for us, that it has opened up another avenue of work, which we thought was being addressed, but which we realized needs a lot more work. One thing that the Arohan did, which went beyond, a little bit beyond One Home, One Toilet, was that we were in the very nascent stages of trying to get into menstrual hygiene at that point of time. And we were looking at menstrual cups as an alternative instead of just pads and cloth pads. And part of that Arohan Award amount was actually used for promoting menstrual hygiene in one ward of Navi Mumbai. We, at the end of it, had 500 women who had switched over to menstrual cups. And this was totally liberating. I mean, this was an experiment we could do because we had this award amount which we could experiment with. And they were open about us, using it for that purpose and not just for One Home, One Toilets. We did 100 toilets, of course, in the city of Thane, in one of the communities. But this was at the ward level. At Belapur ward, which is one of the wards with about 5 or 6 settlements, and which has about 12 to 1300 families across these settlements. And we had anyway done One Home, One Toilet. We had, taken it to a percentage of almost 77% having access to their own toilet over a period of time. But we were very keen to try out using menstrual cups as an option. It worked so well, and I'm really, really grateful, for this kind of support, because it opened up a whole new avenue of work for us, and something that we could really now talk to other donors also who are looking at it seriously. And the fact that we are Arohan Award winners has definitely made an impact. I must sort of thank the jury and the Arohan Awards for giving us that kind of opening the doors wherever we've gone subsequently. We have, as I said, to date, done more than 28,200 toilets, facilitated them, all through CSR funding. Just from the perspective of shelter and the funding that we have raised, almost 1.5 lakh people have got access to safe sanitation, right? But if you look at the model being scaled up by the cities, then I would say it is, anywhere between 3 to 3.5 lakh people who have got access to a home toilet now. A lot of organizations have been working with menstrual health and menstrual hygiene. But when we started looking at it, we realized that most of it was around pads or cloth pads, and the waste that was getting created, because this is all part of the sanitation journey. And we talk about wet waste, dry waste, and we found that a lot of the waste that was being generated during menstruation was not getting collected, or it was becoming a mess, especially outside communities. And so we were really thinking that could there be another way in which this could be approached? And then we started getting into it a little bit, and we were rather surprised to find that most of the women were not even aware of what were the physiological changes that were happening in their body. Why there was this onset of menstrual cycle, what were the changes that were happening. So we realized that this was something that needed a lot more attention, and we needed to go, to the root of it, make people understand, women understand. I mean, there are just so many issues which come about even with cloth pad, which is probably a much better solution than those disposable ones. We found that in slums, because of the densities, there wasn't enough, sunlight reaching them. And if you don't dry them properly, you are asking for trouble. Those girls who started using the menstrual cups, realized that this was so easy to carry. It was so easy to clean. They just had to be careful about making sure that they disinfected. And it was not so difficult to do that. They didn't have anything hanging out which they were ashamed of, that somebody might see. So all these issues got addressed. And then I know some of the young girls persuading their mothers to start using it. And that's how the numbers grew. When it comes to menstrual hygiene, as I said, this is a journey that we just embarked upon, I think, just before we won the Aarohan Award. We were just sort of looking at it, and then the award happened. So to date, we have about 2,500 women who have switched over to menstrual cup. And I'm just hoping that the number will grow. I mean, we did the first 500 we did with the Aarohan Award, and then, been able to build that into our one home, one toilet, which was otherwise not including the menstrual hygiene piece. 100% of the girls had started using the toilet, and obviously, because of their confidence, they didn't have to step out in the dark. Urinary tract infections had gone down significantly. I think they traced that from 23%, it had gone down to 13%. So these were some very, very tangible outcomes that came out of this third-party impact assessment. Overall, this has been a very powerful kind of a solution, because you're also moving more towards zero waste. A cup lasts anywhere between 5 to 7 years, which is, you see, on an average, every woman, the amount of menstrual, the waste that she's putting out, cutting it down to almost zero waste menstruation over 5 to 7 years. I think that's an amazing thing. They were able to show, because they did it over a period of 1.5 years across 4 cities and a sample size of 400 families. They were able to see that 93% families were using those toilets, which was fantastic. After we won the Aarohan Awards, we also got a small grant from the foundation for supporting another 100 toilets. So overall, with the award as well as the foundation's CSR, through the CSR support, we have facilitated more than 200 toilets in slums. We're just hoping that this will grow in the years to come.